In Solo Leveling, a helicopter hovers above Tokyo as a reporter frantically covers the chaos caused by the giants rampaging through the city. The cameraman captures colossal beings uprooting trees and demolishing buildings, but then pans to the largest of them all. The reporter notes, unlike the others, this giant isn't moving. It's as if it's waiting for someone or guarding the gate. Back in Seoul, Jinwoo tells Jinho that he's planning to head to Tokyo. Jinho, concerned, warns Jinwoo that this won't be like the Jeju raid. The monsters are on a whole different level. Jinwoo responds that if he succeeds, the Ajin Guild's name will be recognized worldwide. Seeing his usually supportive friend questioning him, Jinwoo realizes just how dangerous this situation might be. When Jinho suddenly yells that he's coming along, Jinwoo is taken aback. Jinho then dramatically pulls out a stack of articles, asking Jinwoo what they all have in common. Before Jinwoo can answer, Jinho exclaims, "I'm not in a single one of them." He goes on to say that being by Jinwoo's side is the only thing he can brag about. Jinwoo can't help but think how petty a millionaire's son can be. Curious, Jinwoo asks why Jinho wants to come along, especially after opposing the idea at first. Jinho replies, "I trust you. I'll be safe wherever I go with you." Jinwoo stands up, heading for the door, telling Jinho he was just joking all Jinwoo about a cure for eternal slumber, but Jinwoo, keeping his cards close to his chest, denied knowing anything about it and walked out. In the elevator, guilt started to creep in. After all, this was Jinho's father. But Jinwoo reassures himself that he made the right call. He has to be careful with the holy water of life and use it only when absolutely necessary. After dinner, Jinwoo tells his mom he's heading out again. He's come to the conclusion that he needs to be out there on the battlefield, growing stronger, because who knows what other threats might be lurking out there, even worse than the architect. Before leaving, Jinwoo pays a visit to his sister Gina. He shares a bit about what he's been through recently, promising her that he'll come back alive. To ensure her safety while he's away, Jinwoo leaves his shadow soldiers to keep watch over Gina, and with that, he heads out, ready to face whatever comes next. The streets of Tokyo are overrun by rampaging giants, and the military is busy evacuating the civilians. As they were helping an elderly couple, some jinats appeared out of nowhere. The soldiers, doing their best, fired at the giants, but the bullets did nothing. Hope seems lost until a trident comes out of nowhere, stabbing the giant's chest and knocking it down. Our boy Jinwoo had come to save the day, or a country in this scenario. Amidst the chaos, some debris falls, but Jinho steps in to save the elderly couple, assuring Jinwoo they'll be safe. Jinwoo responds with a simple, "All right," and prepares for battle as Jima thrusts his trident in another giant's chest. Jinwoo dashes over his back, leaps into the air, and cuts the giants in half. Meanwhile, across the globe in America, word of Jinwoo's Japan visit has been the hot topic for debate as a group of skeptics discuss Jinwoo's fate. One dude with spiky hair insists Jinwoo doesn't stand a chance because Lady Selner didn't raise his level. The moron was thinking Jinwoo is the same as these lowlives. He bets his yacht that Jinwoo won't last a day. The baldy ups the stakes, betting his house that Jinwoo will be dead in 2 days. Just before the third guy speaks, someone steps in, ready to bet the Scavenger Guild itself that Jinwoo survives. A reporter could hardly believe his eyes because the sight he was seeing was unreal. Giants that had wiped out countless S-rank hunters were now falling like flies, taken down effortlessly by Jinwoo's summons. Meanwhile, on the ground, a little girl was running for her life, narrowly escaping a giant's hand. Just as the giant was about to grab her, her knight in black armor, Igris, swooped in and severed the approaching hand. With the girl safely in Igris's arms, Iron stepped in to finish the job, delivering a powerful blow to the giant's head. Afterward, Iron let out a victory roar, playfully mocking Igris for being weak. These two were like Zoro and Sanji with their rivalry. From a distance, Jinwoo watched the battle unfold. A soldier approached him to express his gratitude, but Jinwoo praised the soldier's bravery instead. He then turned to Jinho, instructing him to finish the evacuation as the two prepared to leave. Jinwoo glanced at the fallen giants and said, "Let's get started for real." With that, he commanded, "Arise." The news of Jinwoo recapturing cities hit like someone had gone on a shopping spree and bought cities in bulk. Chairman Miyamoto couldn't believe that Jinwoo had done what entire parties of S-rank hunters had failed to do. Remembering Goto Ryuji's words about Jinwoo and their first encounter at the airport, when Jinwoo boldly declared he'd take on the giants alone, Miyamoto was left wondering if he should be amazed by Jinwoo's strength or downright terrified. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, Jinwoo wasn't having a casual stroll in the park. He was taking on 5 giants at once, each one towering over him, waiting for their master to give them epic names worthy of their stature. But our guy named them No 1, No 2, and so on. Yeah, real creative, Jinwoo. Still, the raid was going smoothly. Jinwoo and his shadow soldiers were obliterating giants left and right, cleaning up Japan and recapturing cities over cities. As Jinwoo confronted the last giant guarding the gate, he asked Hanakawa if any other S-rank hunters were helping out, though he knew he was the only one holding the line. The burning city reminded him of the Demon Castle, and Jinwoo wondered if the architect had shown him a glimpse of this future. But since the architect hadn't reappeared, Jinwoo figured he was gone for good. Either way, if this was the future, Jinwoo knew all he needed to do was change it. Summoning a fallen giant, Jinwoo stood before an army of shadows, Baru, Igris, and the rest of his high-ranking soldiers, ready for battle. Knowing the final giant would be a challenge, he gave the order to charge. Jinwoo's shadow army charges forward at his command. The giant, though initially unimpressed, finally moves, and with one devastating strike, he wipes out hundreds of shadows at once. Watching from a distance, Jinwoo takes note of the giant's overwhelming strength and sheer size, even admitting that the magic power radiating from the creature is so intense it makes him want to retreat. As the shadows engage in battle against the monstrous creature, Tusk provides support from afar and hits the giant with a fireball. Using this diversion to his advantage, one of Jinwoo's summoned giants surprises him from another angle, ready to crush him with a weapon. However, he blocks the attack with his hand and slices the enemy in half with his own weapon. Baru, being impatient as ever, was about to jump in, but Jinwoo holds him back. He's still analyzing the situation, waiting to find the giant's weak point. Finally, Jinwoo notices something odd in the giant's behavior. The giant doesn't bother blocking attacks thanks to the magic shield surrounding his armor, which protects him from every danger. So why did he bother dodging the attack from the giant earlier? That was the opening he needed. Summoning Kaizel, Jinwoo orders his shadows to follow. Of course, Baru, itching for a fight, rushes to the giant first. He goes for a punch to the face, but the giant dodges at the last moment. After carefully observing the battle and pinpointing the giant's weakness, Jinwoo orders his shadows to go all out. Baru, like a missile on steroids, rockets toward the giant, but the big guy dodges just in time. Meanwhile, Igris, riding beside Jinwoo on Kaizel, launches an attack from the other side, but the giant, somehow still agile, dodges that too, but Igris isn't done. Like the absolute badass he is, Igris leaps onto the giant's body and swings his swords with terrifying force. The fear in the giant's eyes was visible as he realized it's too late to dodge, so he raised his hands in a desperate attempt to block. That's when Jinwoo, the big daddy of these summons, shows up out of nowhere, landing a brutal blow to the giant's eyes. Not long after, Baru strikes the giant as well. Feeling extra confident now, Jinwoo flexes his ruler's authority, summoning every dagger in his arsenal. He controls them all at once, aiming directly for both of the giant's eyes. From the onlooker's perspective, it doesn't even look like a hunter versus monster fight anymore. It's like watching one monster battle another. When Jinwoo's daggers don't quite finish the job, he unleashes a chain of violent slashes right into the giant's face, finally wrecking the left eye. With the giant on his last legs, Jinwoo leaves it to Baru to deliver the finishing blow. The giant falls. The terrifying monster that had everyone shaking in their boots was finally down. Jinwoo, after taking it out, racks up a huge amount of experience, leveling up multiple times in one go. Jinho, the ultimate Jinwoo fanboy, rushes over to congratulate him on taking down the giant boss. But Jinwoo, distracted by the system panel, notices something's off. It says he defeated the enemy, but not the dungeon boss. Suspicious, Jinwoo wonders if the real fight isn't over yet. Just as Jinho gets close, Jinwoo stops him, sensing something ominous. Turns out Baru had just emerged from the giant's skull, and Jinwoo realizes the giant is still radiating crazy amounts of magic power even after death. Baru casually makes it look like he's just clocking out from a shift. Suddenly, the dungeon starts acting up. It begins absorbing the giant's magic power, turning into a massive vortex of energy. Jinwoo narrowly dodges it, but still gets cut by the air pressure. He immediately checks to see if Jinho's okay, only to find Igris had swooped in to save the crybaby guildmaster. Realizing the fight's far from over, Jinwoo tells Jinho he's heading deeper into the dungeon and leaves Igris behind to babysit. Upon entering the dungeon, Jinwoo is surprised by the massive hallway ahead of him. Baru, picking up on strange noises in the distance, asks Jinwoo if he hears them too. Jinwoo, ever calm, comments on the eerie laughter echoing from the boss's room. Locked in chains, the real giant boss senses Jinwoo's presence and mistakes him for his old buddy, the Shadow Monarch, thinking rescue is finally here. Jinwoo is drawn from the laughter coming from the boss's chamber. As he enters, the boss welcomes him, asking him to free him, lost in his own world, blabbering something about rulers, real war, and monarchs. But after taking a look at Jinwoo, he said, "You are not the one I remembered." Jinwoo asked him if rulers had put him in this state. The giant replied, "They are trying to use me to build a foundation for the real war." It was the first time that some intelligent being had tried communicating with him, and the system didn't glitch, wanting to get the most out of this situation. Jinwoo asked who the rulers were. The giant replied they were the enemies of the monarchs. Noticing the giant giant tied up like a piñata, Jinwoo asks if he's one of the monarchs. The giant replied yes and asked Jinwoo to free him. In exchange, he told him he'd help him win this war. Jinwoo, skeptical at first, said, "You want me to believe the words of a monster." To make Jinwoo believe, the monster utters something in an unknown language, and then a panel pops in front of Jinwoo, showing the monarch of giants. Legia has used the skill of Oath of Faith, which forbids the parties to lie to each other. Jinwoo, naturally suspicious, tries to lie, but his words won't come out. Convinced now, Jinwoo bombards Legia with questions about the rulers, monsters, and gates, and Legia answers them like a patient teacher. One of Jinwoo's unique abilities is that he can constantly level up something no other hunter in the world can ever dream of. But this raises an interesting question. Can Jinwoo level up infinitely? Well, the answer is both yes and no. Jinwoo got his powers from the system, which helped him level up and surpass human limits, all to prepare him to become the vessel for Ashbourne, the greatest of the monarchs. But once Jinwoo became strong enough and inherited Ashbourne's powers, he destroyed the system. Even if the system hadn't been destroyed, Jinwoo still couldn't level up forever. Like everyone else, there are limits even for Jinwoo and Ashbourne. The system wasn't giving Jinwoo infinite power. It was gradually unlocking the strength he already possessed. So eventually, he would have hit the level cap and been unable to progress further. However, Jinwoo has another trick up his sleeve: shadow extraction. Even though he can't level up in the traditional sense anymore, he can still grow stronger by killing powerful enemies and adding them to his shadow army. So technically, with his ever-growing army of shadows, Jinwoo continues to get stronger over time, even without the system. Now, a question for you guys. Do you think the shadow army combined can ever surpass Jinwoo? Finds himself having a heart-to-monarch with Legia, one of the original monarchs. Jinwoo, eager to learn more about the rulers and the monsters, asks Legia why these creatures keep coming to Earth. Legia's answer leaves Jinwoo speechless. He reveals that the rulers are slowly injecting mana into the world to turn Earth into a massive battlefield for their next showdown with the monarchs. Jinwoo wasn't pleased to know that his home is about to become the main stage for a supernatural WWE. Legia, still in the begging mode, begs Jinwoo to free him quickly, warning that neither the rulers nor the monarchs will be pleased that they've made contact. Jinwoo, still trying to piece things together, asks why Legia is making it seem like everyone's out to get him. Legia, seeing Jinwoo's cluelessness, told him about his predecessor, Ashbourne, and how he betrayed both the rulers and the monarchs. And now they want Jinwoo dead for the same reason. Being the practical guy he is, Jinwoo suggests, "Well, if you're so eager to help, why not become one of my shadow soldiers?" But Legia, momentarily stunned by seeing a glimpse of Ashbourne in Jinwoo, explains that it's impossible. He explains that when he dies, his spirit will be completely destroyed, meaning he can't be turned into a shadow. After answering all of Jinwoo's questions, Legia once again begs to be freed. Jinwoo, always on guard, summons his dagger and cuts some of the chains. But as he does, he starts feeling like something's not quite right. After a long conversation with Legia, Jinwoo finally decided to trust him, or at least enough to start cutting down some of the shackles holding him. But deep down, his instincts were screaming, "This feels way too easy." As he prepared to cut more chains, Jinwoo spotted the biggest red flag, a mana stone on Legia's back, the same type he had seen on other monsters. Jinwoo's suspicions flared up. He asked Legia if he was truly on the side of humans. Legia didn't respond. Instead, he flashed Jinwoo a sinister grin and tried to crush him with a massive hand. Jinwoo narrowly dodged the attack and, without hesitation, drove his dagger through Legia's heart, deciding he was far too dangerous to set free. As Legia took his last breath, he cursed Jinwoo, saying he hoped everyone Jinwoo cared about would die painfully. But Jinwoo, unfazed, promised that wouldn't happen. Killing a monarch was no small feat, and it was so significant that the system itself needed extra time to process it. Once the system caught up, Jinwoo's levels skyrocketed, leaving him even more powerful than before. Meanwhile, across the world in America, Christopher Reeves was dealing with a different kind of problem. Miss Selner and the vice director of the Federal Bureau of Hunters made an unannounced visit to discuss something urgent. Confused, Chris assumed it was about a new gate, but Miss Selner quickly corrected him, saying, "There's a far bigger problem than any gate. You might get killed in the near future. Follow for more."